Hey guys, if you want to take amazing photos and videos with your Galaxy S25 Ultra's cameras, then it is essential that you learn all of its features. So in this tutorial, I'm gonna walk you through about 50 awesome camera features and along the way also give you some tips and tricks that you're gonna find super useful. And this is Tech Guy Charlie. Welcome. If you're new here, consider subscribing. So let us start with the camera hardware because you should know the function of each of these camera modules. And not to mention, the S25 Ultra brings a major upgrade to the ultra wide camera, which is here on the top left. It's got a brand new 50 megapixel sensor which can now do 4K at 120 fps or 8K 30 fps videos. So it's a really nice upgrade, and the ultra wide camera is able to capture a lot of details in daylight, and with a 120-degree field of view, it's gonna cover a lot of area. The main 200 megapixel camera is in the middle. It's got all the bells and whistles, 4K 120 fps, along with 8K videos, autofocus, OIS, all that good stuff. Its 24mm lens is fairly wide, and this is the camera that gives you the best quality photos and videos. The 5x telephoto periscope camera is here at the bottom, and just like the other two cameras, this can also record videos in 8K resolution. And coming to photos, along with 5x zoom, it can also do 10x zoom without any loss in quality. And the fourth camera is a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto camera. This activates when you select the 3x zoom level on your phone. And this is the laser autofocus system and the LED flash. By the way, all 5 cameras of the S25 Ultra can record in 4K at 60 fps, and you'll be able to switch between all 5 cameras, including the front-facing camera, while you're recording videos at 4K 60 fps. This is actually a fairly new feature because my S23 Ultra cannot switch between its lenses while recording in 4K at 60 fps. So yeah, if you are coming from an S23 Ultra, I think the S25 Ultra is gonna be a really nice upgrade. And all of the cameras have autofocus and are optically stabilized, except the ultra wide angle camera. This does have autofocus, but it lacks OIS. But that is totally fine because the videos coming out of the ultra wide camera are pretty stable by themselves. Sometimes they even feel as if the video was recorded with the phone mounted on a gimbal. And finally, on the front, we've got a 12 megapixel camera which also does 4K at 60 fps. Plus, it's also got autofocus. So now that you are familiar with the camera hardware of your S25 Ultra, we will start the video first by quickly going over the Samsung camera UI, since many of you are coming from an iPhone, and not to mention Samsung has redesigned a lot of things compared to what you used to get before. Okay, so from the top, this is your flash toggle. Next, you've got the resolution selection, which I recommend that you leave it at 12 megapixels for best quality. Next, you've got the toggle for motion photos, which I mainly use to create boomerang for social media. It's actually super fun. And here's a fun fact, you can also create boomerangs by adding your motion photos directly to Instagram. There is a dedicated button that pops up to create boomerangs when you add motion photos to Instagram. Then you've got toggle for filters, which you can apply to your photos. And if you are using the front-facing camera, then you also get access to beauty filters. Now keep in mind, this icon pops up on the top right only if you've got the beauty effects switched on first by going into this menu and switching them on from over here, or else you will not see the beauty effect icon on the top. And coming to this menu, well, it's got a bunch of features. The gear icon takes you to the main camera settings. Let's go back. Then once again, you've got the flash toggle. And then you've got the self timer, which goes up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Next, you've got the aspect ratio selection, which changes how the image or the video looks on the screen. Like selecting full is going to give you full screen photos and videos. I'm going to talk more about this later in the video. For now, we're going to set this to 9:16. Okay, so moving on, once again you've got the resolution and the motion photo buttons. The next one is your exposure value selection. Using this, you can make your photos or videos brighter or darker, which is very useful. And once again, you've got the toggles for filters and beauty effects. Now in the video mode, it's more or less the same thing, but you do get some additional buttons like Super Steady, HDR, and inside here you also get an option of auto framing. Now my suggestion would be to keep all three of these, that is Super Steady, HDR, and auto framing switched off if you want the best video quality. I've explained why video HDR should be off in another video, but basically the thing is, if you don't have an HDR capable display to watch these videos on, then your HDR videos are gonna look washed out and generally bad. That's why I suggest keeping this off for best compatibility with non-HDR displays. But the choice is yours. If you have an HDR capable display, keep it on because it does make the videos pop. And lastly, at the bottom, you've got your camera modes. By default, you get 3 camera modes, and everything else that you see here, like the night mode, pro video, and hyperlapse are gonna be inside the more tab. So now what you wanna do is bring the camera modes that you are going to use frequently down over here. So the way you customize is by dragging and dropping the camera modes from the more tab down to the bottom row. Once you get a camera mode onto this row, you can place it wherever you want. And when you are done, tap on save. This way you'll have easy access to the camera modes that you use frequently. And lastly, while you're in the video mode, tap on the video resolution settings and set this to UHD 60. This is gonna give you the best video quality possible, which is perfect for watching videos that you're gonna take with your S25 Ultra on a big screen TV. Now, the S25 Ultra is probably the only phone that lets you record in 8K at 3 focal lengths, but it's really pointless to do so unless you have an 8K television to view these videos on. However, that said, one big advantage of recording in 8K is that you can extract high-resolution 33 megapixel still images from the 8K video. So go into the gallery and select the 8K video that you want to extract the still image from. Navigate to the part of the video from which you want to extract the still image. Pause the video and press on this button. And this will extract a full resolution 33 megapixel still image from the 8K video. And the phone will save the extracted still photo in a folder called video capture. Here it is. And holy moly, check out that resolution, 7680 into 4320. That is 8K. And this is such a high resolution photo that you can zoom in all the way without having any pixelation or distortion. That is impressive. And guys, don't just take photos of documents. Instead, point your phone at the document and press on the T button. The phone is going to automatically detect the document and it's going to give you 2 options. The first one lets you extract the text out of the document straight from the photo itself without saving it, and you can copy the text and paste it wherever you want to. But if you want to save the document as a photo, then tap on the scan button. Then make sure that the photo is properly cropped and then save it. This is going to remove any imperfections in the photo and save it as a properly scanned document. You can also extract the text out of the document straight from the gallery itself by pressing on the T button in the photo of the document. You can also open the links that are in the QR code directly from the camera. Alternatively, you can take a photo of the QR code and open it later in the gallery by once again pressing on the T button. So there are plenty of options when it comes to taking photos of documents and QR codes. And here's a fun fact. You can also add a date for an event to your phone's calendar straight from physical wedding cards. All you have to do is launch the camera and place it in front of the card, then press on the T button, then highlight the date part, and then select Add Event. And this will allow you to add the event straight to your phone's calendar from a physical card. And shout out to Paper Muse for hooking me up with a sample wedding card. If you need a wedding card designer, go ahead and check out Paper Muse. Now, you might have noticed this little icon that pops up at the bottom of the screen whenever you take macro pictures like photos of flowers. If you tap on this, it activates a feature called Focus Enhancer, and this feature utilizes the ultra-wide angle lens to take macro photos. I can actually demonstrate by moving my finger onto the ultra-wide lens. See that? That shows you the phone is using the ultra wide angle lens to take macro shots. Now, I don't really recommend using this because I feel that the main camera is better when it comes to focusing. You can clearly see that once we switch off focus enhancer, the video has much better focus, and not to mention you will completely miss out on the background blur aka bokeh while using focus enhancer. So if you want bokeh in your macro shots, then disable focus enhancer. But if your phone is having difficulties focusing on an object, or if you want to take a close-up photo or a video with everything in focus, then you might want to switch on the focus enhancer because then everything is gonna be in focus. I also find tracking autofocus extremely useful, especially while recording videos. To enable this feature, go into the camera settings, under General, enable tracking autofocus. And after enabling this feature, tap the object that you want to keep in focus and the phone will track that object and keep it in focus. Now if you don't use this feature, the phone is going to try and focus on the face. But since we have tapped on the phone, it is trying to focus on the phone rather than my face. And you can see as I move the object around, the camera is going to track the object and keep it in focus. So this is a feature that is extremely useful for recording videos. Now, if you don't like tracking focus, you can switch over to tap to focus. So head on into the camera settings and switch off tracking focus. Now the camera is going to focus onto the objects that you tap on the screen. You can even change the exposure by using this slider. Now since we are not using the tracking focus, if the object or if you move, you'll notice that everything is going to reset. So if you want to lock the focus and exposure onto something, press and hold and the phone will lock the focus and exposure onto the subject. So now the focus and the exposure will stay locked even if you move or if the object moves. So each has its own usage and it really depends on what you're trying to capture. But nonetheless, both are extremely useful. Now, if tap to focus and tracking focus isn't working out for you, then you can head over into the Pro mode, keep all of the settings on auto, and adjust the focus manually. This can be super useful when the phone isn't able to focus in the auto mode. And you'll also notice that as you adjust the focus, the phone applies a green highlight to the areas that are in focus. This makes it super easy to find out which part of your image is in focus. I'll come back to the Pro modes later in the video. The Galaxy S25 Ultra is probably the ultimate phone to get if you're looking for a great quality telephoto camera on a smartphone. Thing is, this phone is gonna do 10 times zoom without any loss in picture quality. Let me show you. So right now I've got the ultra wide camera selected and we will start zooming in onto that building. So I'm gonna switch to the main camera, then comes the 3 times telephoto camera and the 5 times telephoto camera. Now keep in mind that once we go beyond 5 times zoom, the phone is gonna crop the photo that is coming in from the 50 megapixel 5 times telephoto camera. But that's totally fine because the photos that you're gonna take at, let's say at 10 times zoom, are as good as if they were taken with an actual 10 times telephoto lens. And switching between the ultra wide and then back to the 10 times telephoto camera really shows you how close it gets. And it really doesn't stop here. You can go even further by selecting 30 times and that really brings you up close. Now the pictures do tend to get a bit mushy at 30 times zoom, but I think they're still usable and you should be able to get away with an A4 size printout. Keep in mind at 30 times zoom, you're getting a cropped photo coming in from the 50 megapixel 5 times telephoto camera. So there's a lot of post-processing that happens behind the scene. You can actually see the phone upscale the photo. And the quality improves substantially compared to what you were seeing on the viewfinder. And it does a pretty good job till 30 times. But anything beyond that is unusable and you will end up with a mushy looking photo. So my advice would be to stick to a maximum of 10 times zoom if you want the best photo quality. And just for a comparison, I took photos in the same location at 10 times zoom with both. First with the S25 Ultra at 10 times zoom and then with the S23 Ultra, which does have an actual 10 times telephoto lens. And the results are gonna surprise you because the S25 Ultra with its 5 times zoom lens produces photos at 10 times zoom, which are of the same quality as the S23 Ultra does with its dedicated 10 times zoom lens. Even at 100% zoom, it's very difficult to tell the difference between the two. Maybe the S23 Ultra has a slight edge when it comes to finer detail, but they kinda look identical. I also took photos at 30 times zoom just to see what comes out of it. And to my surprise, the picture quality is once again identical. Maybe the S25 Ultra is a bit sharper right here, but overall, I feel that both of these phones are pretty much identical when it comes to taking photos at 10 and also 30 times zoom. I feel that's pretty impressive for a smartphone camera. You know what? I think when you take photos at 30 times zoom, I'm guessing the phone is using AI to upscale the photo. Although these are not the sharpest, but I still think these are okay for posting on social media and even for taking A4 size printouts, but again, you're gonna see that the photo is upscaled and it's not the sharpest. But still, very impressive for a phone. When you take photos in low light conditions, you'll notice that the camera switches into the night mode automatically, which is shown by the moon icon over here. And this is gonna help you capture crisp and sharp photos in low light conditions without using a tripod. The auto night mode is really good to the point where you don't even need to switch the camera into the dedicated night mode. So check it out, the photo is actually pretty good. There's plenty of details in the photo to the point where you can read the text on the book. Now here is a hidden feature that many people don't know. If you want better quality low light photos, then you can switch over to the dedicated night mode, set your phone on a tripod, and then change the exposure from auto to max. So once you set the exposure to max, the phone will automatically detect that it's on a tripod and it will automatically increase the maximum exposure. And this is gonna give you a slightly better photo. And if it's pitch dark, the exposure can go up to 26 to 30 seconds, which is again gonna give you a much higher quality photo even in pitch dark conditions, as you can clearly see. And we are still able to read the text on the book despite the room being almost pitch dark. It also works with the telephoto camera, but unfortunately for the telephoto cameras, the maximum exposure that you get is 5 seconds in the night mode even if you use a tripod stand. But that is more than enough to get a decent quality photo. So take a look, even with 5 seconds worth of exposure, we are still able to get a decent quality photo. However, if you want, you can get a longer exposure for the telephoto camera in the Pro mode. So here, we can set the exposure to 15 seconds at ISO 50 and that is going to give us a much higher quality photo. And speaking of the Pro or the manual modes, you've got two of them, Pro for photos and Pro Video for videos. Both of them provide similar functionality. They give you complete manual control over the camera. And this allows you to control the camera's ISO level, which is basically the camera's sensitivity to light. Higher the ISO, the brighter your photos and videos are gonna be. Next, you've got the shutter speed, which controls how long the camera sensor is gonna be exposed to light. Then you've got the setting which allows you to control the focus manually. Now you may ask, how do you know if an object is in focus or not? Well, check this out. As you adjust the focus manually, you will notice that the phone applies a green highlight to the areas that are in focus. This feature is called peaking focus and it will let you know which part of your image is in focus when you adjust the focus manually in the manual modes. So this makes it super easy to figure out which part of your frame is in focus. So next, you've got white balance, which controls the color tone of your image or the video. And finally, you can also choose how the microphone captures the audio. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about ISO, white balance or the exposure because I have a dedicated video about the manual modes on Samsung smartphones. So if you're interested in learning how to use the manual modes, you might want to go ahead and check out this video. I will put the link in the video's description. Now, for casual photography and video recording, I would always recommend using the auto mode because it does a fairly good job. But when you're trying to do something that's a bit more advanced, that's where the manual mode comes in. And once you dial in the right settings, it's gonna give you photos and videos that are better than what the auto mode does. I mean, take a look. The photo that we have taken with the pro or the manual mode is far superior than what the auto mode is able to give us. The difference in quality is very noticeable when you zoom in onto the moon. Let's try this one more time but with a different scene. Okay, so first we're gonna take a photo with the normal night mode, which is basically like enhanced auto mode. So here the phone is gonna do all the settings by itself. And here are the results. The photo is kinda okay, but it's nothing special. So let's take another photo in the same location, but this time with the pro mode. We're gonna keep the ISO at 50 to keep the noise at a minimum. Next, we are going to set the shutter speed to 10 seconds, and that should give the phone plenty of time to capture a bright image. And lastly, we are also gonna adjust the white balance to 2400 Kelvin, and that is gonna give us a deep blue sky that we are all familiar with. And check this out. Looks awesome, right? And there is absolutely no noise in the photo because we took this at ISO 50 and the sky looks absolutely beautiful. You can even see the stars. And in my opinion, this is far superior to the photo that we got in the auto mode. So if you know what you're doing, then the pro mode is gonna be far superior to the auto mode. Another benefit of the pro mode is that you don't get any artificial AI powered enhancements in your photos. You might have noticed that when you take a photo in the auto or the night mode, it kinda gets artificially enhanced. For the most part, it actually works quite well and it will make your photos look really good. But sometimes it also messes up the photo like this one. Initially it looked okay, but as soon as the phone finished processing, the moon kinda had a weird halo around it, which kinda looks like noise. But thankfully in the manual modes, you don't get all of those AI powered enhancements. So depending on the camera settings, your photos are gonna be as original as possible. And if you don't want to tinker around with the ISO, shutter speed and the white balance, you can set all of these to auto and use the pro mode as the auto mode. The difference will be that your photos are not gonna be artificially enhanced. Meanwhile, in the auto mode, this happens to your photos. So I think many of you enthusiasts and photography experts are gonna appreciate the pro mode. I've also noticed that the phone kinda tends to overexpose the videos in the auto mode. It kinda looks okay, but if you pay close attention, the grass and the building looks totally washed out and the brightness is blown out of proportion. Fortunately, we can fix all of these issues and record better quality videos using the Pro video mode. So take a look at this. I am using a higher shutter speed and that fixed the overexposed issue. Takes a bit of practice and obviously trial and error to dial in the right settings, but eventually you'll get videos that are better looking than what you get in the auto mode. This was recorded in the auto mode and then finally in the Pro video. Big difference, right? And this is why I always use the Pro video to record videos that go on the YouTube channel. If you're a vlogger, you are absolutely going to love this next feature. So this phone has a feature called dual recording, which allows you to use the front as well as the rear cameras together. When you record videos in the dual recording camera mode, you're gonna get a video feed coming in from the rear cameras and also have your face in the video itself in this picture-in-picture sort of a view. Double tapping the picture-in-picture view will allow you to change its size in real time. You can even move the video feed that is coming from the front-facing camera around. And hey, you can even flip the cameras around. So now the feed coming in from the front camera is our background and the video feed coming in from the rear cameras is in the picture-in-picture mode. You can also change the layout from picture-in-picture to side-by-side. So yeah, plenty of features to play around with. You can also save both video feeds as two separate files. Press on this button and the phone will save both the videos as two separate 16:9 video files. One from the front camera and the other one from the rear camera. And you can edit these later on a PC or a Mac. So this actually gives you a lot of flexibility. One of the most underrated camera feature on a Samsung phone is the single take mode. When you press the camera shutter button in the single take mode, what happens is that the camera records a short video and then it takes screenshots from it and spits out a couple of photos and videos with a lot of different effects. So you can see we've got a highlight video, a still image, boomerang clip, slow motion clip, cropped shot, collage, filtered picture, and the original video is right over here. So this feature is pretty darn awesome. Also, when you tap here, you've got the option to choose what the camera captures. So you can just disable the type of photo that you don't want to see. There is also an option of pre-recording the clip. That means it will record 5 seconds worth of video right before you press the camera shutter button. It's a personal choice, but I prefer keeping this off. When you take selfies using the front-facing camera, you're gonna notice that everything is in focus, including the background. But what if you wanna blur the background of your selfies and give the photos that DSLR-like effect? Well, for that, we've got something called portrait mode. You've got two of them, portrait for still images and portrait video. Now inside here, you get a couple of effects. The first one is the background blur, kinda gives you that DSLR-like feel. Then you've got studio, high key mono, low key mono, backdrop, and my favorite, color point. So plenty of effects to choose from. And as for videos, you've got portrait video. It is the exact same thing, but instead of photos, it records videos. And you can even apply the portrait effect to photos that you have taken without the portrait mode. So in the gallery, open the picture to which you want to apply the background blur, then swipe up and select background blur. And the phone will blur the background. And you can even tweak the intensity from here. So you don't need to use the portrait mode every time. You can apply a background blur to normal pictures from over here. I've also noticed that the phone kind of flips the selfies around, so pay attention. If I take a photo and head on into the gallery, you'll notice that the wall is now on the other side. Did you see that? Sometimes this can be super useful, like if your image contains text, but if you want to save the photos as they appear on the viewfinder, then what you want to do is head on into the camera settings and enable save selfies as previewed. So now the phone is going to save your selfies as they appear on the viewfinder. The camera also has a couple of built-in filters, which you can access by tapping on this icon and then the filter icon. Now the best part is all of the filters are customizable, so you can change the filter strength, color temperature, contrast, saturation, and also control the amount of grain you want in the photo. So that is awesome. However, if you still aren't satisfied with all of these, scroll to the end and then tap on the download button. This is gonna take you to the Galaxy store, which has a ton of filters to choose from. But if you are still not happy with all of these, then you can create a filter from your very own photos. So all you have to do is, when you've got filters open, scroll to the left, select the plus button and pick a picture from the gallery. For demonstration purposes, I am going to pick this one. So the phone is going to analyze the dominant colors in this picture and use them as the filter. So this photo has a lot of bluish purple, hence the blue purple filter. Here's another one. This photo has a lot of yellow in it, so you get a yellowish filter. This feature is pretty darn amazing, right? And finally, tapping on the face button opens up the beauty filters. These are basic enhancements for your face like skin smoothness, color tone, jawline, etc, etc. Now in the camera settings, you might have noticed an option which says Auto FPS. This is like night mode but for video recording. Alright, so I'm recording this clip in almost complete darkness with the Auto FPS option switched off. And as a result, the video is pretty dark and there's also a bit of noise. But if we switch on the Auto FPS option, you will notice that the videos are slightly brighter and they also have less noise. This is because Auto FPS lowers the shutter speed down to 15 FPS, and the lower shutter speed allows the camera to capture more light, giving you brighter videos in low light conditions. However, the side effect of this feature is that it will downgrade the frame rate from 60 fps to 30. I've actually got the camera set to record at 60 fps, but it's actually recording at 15 fps, which is being upscaled to 30. That's how we are able to get such bright videos in almost complete darkness. So it's a really nice feature to have, but if you want more consistent frame rate, then you might want to switch this feature off or set this to 30 fps only. You can also take photos at the full 200 megapixel resolution of the main camera. Now, taking photos at the maximum resolution is not a good idea since removing pixel binning will give you slightly lower quality photos. But due to the insane resolution, you can zoom in a lot without experiencing any pixelation or distortion. It is just insane how much you can actually zoom in. That is awesome. And here's a tip. To record videos, you don't have to switch the camera mode from photo to video. If you press and hold the camera shutter button in the photo mode, the phone will start recording a video. See that? And now you can either keep your finger on the screen to continue recording or drag it to this lock icon to get some additional options. So now you can switch between the cameras, take a still photo, and even pause the video recording. So this way you can quickly record a video without going into the actual video mode. Unfortunately, there is a limitation to this. The videos that are recorded in the photo mode are limited to Full HD, as you can see from the video resolution. So to record in 4K, you will have to go to the actual video mode. And here is another tip. While recording videos, you can take still photos by pressing on this button. This way you can capture still images while the phone is recording a video. So that is super convenient. Here is another tip. If you swipe down on the camera shutter button in the photo mode, the phone will take 100 photos in quick succession. So this is the burst mode, which is great for capturing fast moving objects. And later on, you can select the photos that you want to save in the gallery from over here. Now coming to Slo-Mo, you've got the option to record in 4K at 120 fps. And one of the advantages is that you can slow the video down to 30 fps, and that is gonna give you a high quality cinematic slow motion effect. Now, if you want to go slower, then you might want to select the Full HD 240 fps option, and that is going to give you a slower slow motion effect. However, Samsung did get rid of the 960 fps super slow-mo option, which used to be a thing on their older generation smartphones, and this was recorded on the S10 Plus, and the super slow motion videos aren't really of high quality, but it does slow the video down quite a bit. And here's a side-by-side comparison between all three. In my opinion, the 120 fps looks the best, but you can clearly see that the super slow motion mode does have its advantages. It's a very niche feature, but it's still nice to have, especially when you're doing cinematic shots like this one. You can also turn pretty much any video into a slow-mo using AI. So to get a preview, we can tap and hold on the video and the phone will instantly turn the video into a slow-mo, which is awesome. Now, if you want to save the video as a slow-mo, you can tap on the save icon to save that part of the video that you have just previewed as a slow-mo. Now, if you want more flexibility and the option to choose the speed of the slow-mo, then you'll have to open the video in the video editor and select the speed from here. And once you are satisfied, you can now save your newly created slow motion video. So yeah, this is such an awesome feature of Galaxy AI, and I absolutely love this. Now I absolutely love time-lapse videos, and this phone has a feature called Hyperlapse that lets you record great quality time-lapse videos. And one of the nicest things about the S25 Ultra is that now you can record time-lapse videos with all 4 cameras in 4K. The last year's S24 Ultra was limited to 3 cameras, but the new S25 Ultra can now do time-lapse with its 5 times telephoto camera, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. The phone is also capable of capturing stunning, super wide panoramas. Taking panoramas is actually very easy. Select the panorama mode, tap on the shutter button and start panning your phone in either left or right. And the phone will automatically capture photos and create a panoramic shot for you. And this is what we have ended up with. Looks awesome, right? There's also a feature called shot suggestions. If you enable this, the phone will kinda help you compose your photos. So it will analyze the scene and place a dot on the screen, and you can move your phone towards the dot and get an overall better composition. But keep in mind that this feature works better outdoors when you're taking photos of landscapes. Now here's the best part. All of the cameras of the S25 Ultra works with third-party apps like Snapchat and Instagram. Snapchat actually shows you a proper button at the bottom which allows you to use the ultra-wide and the telephoto camera. Now even though this shows 2 times, you can actually use the 3 as well as the 5 times telephoto camera in Snapchat. So the thing is, as you zoom in, you'll notice at 3 times the camera will switch over to the actual 3 times telephoto lens. You can actually see the switch happen. It's right about here. And same goes for the 5 times telephoto camera. You'll need to keep zooming in, and as you hit the 5 times zoom level, you'll notice that the camera will switch over to the actual 5 times telephoto lens. So this will let you take crystal clear zoomed in photos with third-party apps like Snapchat. And same goes for Instagram. You'll need to keep zooming in to switch over to the telephoto cameras. So yeah, there aren't many Androids in the market that can do this. Definitely an exclusive feature to Samsung flagships and iPhones. Now, if you've got the phone set up in a way where you can't actually reach the camera shutter button, maybe you've got your phone set up on a tripod, well, to take a photo, you can tell the phone, cheese, and it's gonna take a photo. Or if you are in the video mode, you can tell the phone to record video, and the phone is gonna start recording a video. So this is how you can control the camera of your S25 Ultra with your voice. Now voice command will be turned off by default, so you will have to go into the camera settings, scroll down to shooting methods, and then enable voice command from here. Now if show palm is turned off, you might want to enable this as well. This is gonna allow you to take selfies just by showing your palm to the phone. So just like that. So next, I want you guys to head on into the camera settings, then scroll down to general and enable the composition guide and make sure both grid line and level are selected. So as the name suggests, this will add grid lines to the camera UI, which is gonna help you compose your photos. This is something that I actually use while recording videos to figure out if the phone I'm holding is in the center of the screen or not. And along with it, you also get a level indicator, which will tell you if your phone is level or not. Quite a useful feature. Now even after using grid lines and level indicators, sometimes your photos might come out a bit crooked. If this happens to you, you can open the photo in the generative AI tool and fix your crooked photos. And this happens locally on the phone, so you don't even need to be connected to the internet to use this part of Galaxy AI. It takes a bit of time to generate, but yeah, there you go. The image has been fixed. Now unfortunately, when you save your photo, you're gonna notice that the phone has put a little watermark which says AI generated content. Fortunately, there is a little trick that you can do to remove the AI generated watermark. So all you have to do is open the image with the watermark in the photo editor. Then tap on these 4 dots, and from this list, select the object eraser tool. Now tap or draw around the logo and then select erase. It might take you a couple of tries depending on the image, but yeah, there you go. That's how you get rid of the watermark. Now sometimes you can end up taking photos that have a nasty shadow in them. This photo is kinda unusable because of the shadow on my face. Thankfully, we can get rid of the shadow using the same object eraser tool. So once again, we're gonna open the photo in the photo editor and then head on into the object eraser tool. Here we are gonna select erase shadows, and you'll see that the phone will get rid of the shadows. So there you go. The photo looks much better. And along with the shadow eraser tool, you've also got the option to erase reflections. Now keep in mind it only works to an extent, but it should be able to remove most of the reflections just like it did in this photo. But nonetheless, awesome feature, right? Now, one of my favorite features in the built-in photo editor is the Spot Color tool. Using this, you can retain certain colors in your photo. And using this, you can end up with really awesome artistic looking photos. And if the phone makes a mistake, you can always use the eraser to remove colors in the areas that you don't want to see in color. And there you go. The photo looks awesome, right? In the video mode, you might have noticed this icon which looks like someone is running. Tapping this will turn on a feature called Super Steady. This feature applies a really strong EIS or electronic image stabilization to videos, and this gives you shake-free videos. It almost looks as if the video was recorded with the phone mounted on a gimbal. This is gonna be perfect if you wanna record something while running or riding a bike. Alright, so when you record a video while playing back music, you might have noticed that the music playback stops while you are recording and then starts playing back as soon as you stop the video recording. So what do you do if you want to record videos while playing back music on your phone? Well, there is a setting that you can enable by going into the camera settings and then advanced video options, and here you want to enable audio playback. This setting will allow you to play back audio on your phone and record videos together. And if you are wondering, yes, you're gonna have the audio that you are playing back on your phone in your videos. And boy oh boy, this phone takes incredibly detailed photos of the moon. So to take a photo of the moon, you don't have to do anything special. Just point your S25 Ultra at the moon, select the 30 times zoom, and the phone will do the rest for you. Once the moon is in frame, just tap on the shutter button and that is it. And you're gonna end up with a beautiful photo of the moon. Now the camera integration also means that you can take photos of the moon using Snapchat. You really don't have to do anything, just start zooming in onto the moon and eventually the image will clear up and you will get a crystal clear photo of the moon. And you can send it to your friends and impress them. Alright, so at the starting of the video, I told you that you can take photos and videos that covers the entire screen of your S25 Ultra by changing the aspect ratio to full. However, there is a downside to this. When you view photos taken with the full aspect ratio on a computer or a TV, you're gonna see black borders on the top and bottom. This is because TVs and PC monitors have an aspect ratio of 16:9, while the full aspect ratio on the phone takes photos in the 19.5:9 aspect ratio, which matches the screen of your phone. Changing the aspect ratio to 16:9 on the phone will make the photos and videos fit the entire screen of your TV and your PC monitor. But now we have black bars on the right and left on our phone. And finally, this is how 1:1 looks like on the TV and on the phone. Both of them have black borders. However, 1:1 is great for social media sites like Instagram and Facebook. So the bottom line is, if you plan on viewing your photos and videos exclusively on the phone, that too in landscape mode, then go ahead use the full view mode option, or else stick to 16:9 for videos and 3:4 for photos. This will give you better flexibility. And if you want to learn more about aspect ratio and how it affects your photos and videos, well then I have a dedicated video for you. So you might want to check out this video once you are done watching this one. Now, if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you head on into the Galaxy store and download something called the Camera Assistant. So this is the one that you'll need to download. And this camera add-on is gonna give you access to some secret hidden features that are not available through the main camera settings. Now, I'm not gonna explain each and every one of these individually because I've already covered the important ones in the previous video. So once you are done watching this video, I highly recommend that you go ahead and check out this video. I'll put the link in the video's description. Now, did you know that you can use an external monitor with your Samsung Galaxy smartphone using only a single USB Type-C cable? So it's a single cable solution that handles a couple of things. Number one, it handles the power, so it keeps your phone charged. Number 2, it carries the video and the sound signal together. So if you happen to play a video, the sound will actually come out of the monitor. Very useful if you want to watch movies through your phone on a bigger screen. And lastly, it will also enable touch if your monitor is a touchscreen. So that is awesome, right? Oh, and by the way, this being a portable monitor means that you can power this off the phone's battery. So even if we unplug the USB cable supplying power to the monitor and the phone, it will automatically switch over to the phone's battery. And this can be extremely useful when you don't have an external USB power source available. And this is something that I regularly use while filming videos because I don't always have a USB power source available. So it's not something that's there just for the sake of being there. It's actually an extremely useful feature. And using an external monitor can be quite beneficial if you use your phone as a dedicated video camera, which I actually do. So the external monitor is actually an integral part of my video recording setup. Why? Because the phone is mounted in such a way that I cannot look at its screen, especially when I'm sitting on my chair. So that's where the external monitor can be very useful, and all of the controls are on the monitor, so I can control the phone directly from over here. And since the monitor also supplies power to the phone, I don't have to worry about running out of battery. So now you see how useful an external monitor really is. And not to mention that you can also run Samsung DeX complete with touch input, no docks or special cables required. So an external monitor can also be your productivity tool. And if you are wondering, the monitor that I'm using is from ViewSonic and the model is TD1655. It's a 15-inch USB Type-C portable touchscreen monitor. Now what do you do if your monitor does not support USB Type-C input? Well, then you'll need one of these USB Type-C to HDMI adapters. And using this, you'll be able to connect to pretty much any display or a projector which has an HDMI input. And these adapters are quite cheap and are easily available. And because the adapter has a USB Type-A port, you can plug in and use a standard PC mouse with Samsung DeX. And it will even keep your phone charged because you can connect your charger through this. So yeah, it's a nice little gadget to have. Now coming back to the camera assistant, at the end you will notice an option which says clean preview over HDMI displays. And this is quite a useful option because enabling this will hide the camera UI on the external monitor, giving you a clean video feed. And sometimes this can be useful to figure out if the frame is in focus or not, because usually the shutter button and the camera UI is gonna block things that are on the right side of the display. Alright, so I guess that covers all of the major features of the Galaxy S25 Ultra's cameras. And yes, there are a couple of settings that are left out intentionally because I feel that you should leave them as they are, especially most of the settings that you're gonna see in the advanced video options. You really don't need to enable high bitrate or log unless you are doing something very specific. But anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. If you have enjoyed and found the video to be helpful, make sure that you hit the like button, share the video, and do subscribe to the channel because I've got more videos coming up for the S25 Ultra. And this is Tech Guy Charlie, signing off.